Two black cars rolled through the gates of Clarence House. No press release, no smiles for the cameras, just a father and son meeting for the first time in 18 months. King Charles, Prince Harry. A quiet moment that carried the weight of years of silence, anger, and unfinished business. This wasn't a casual drop-in. It was history playing out in real time. Ever since Harry and Meghan walked away from royal duties, every move he made, every deal, every documentary, every book, seemed to rip the family further apart. But now, after months of rumors and speculation, the two were finally face to face. Was this a step toward healing or a final check before closing the door for good? For 30 minutes, father and son sat down. What they said remains a mystery. But what it means for the future of the monarchy could be explosive. The last time Charles and Harry met was back in February 2024, when news of the king's cancer diagnosis forced a brief reunion. It was short, awkward, and left no sense of resolution. Since then, silence. No shared holidays, no family gatherings, no private phone calls that anyone knows about. When Harry flew back to London in September for charity events, speculation began immediately. Would he try to see his father? Would Charles even allow it? At 5:20 p.m., cameras caught Harry's car arriving at Clarence House. The images spread within minutes. What looked like a small family moment became global news. After 18 months apart, the king had agreed to see his son. A small step, yes, but one that shattered the wall of distance that had defined their relationship. The fact that it happened at all told the world something had shifted, even if only slightly. To understand the weight of this meeting, you have to rewind to 2020. That's when Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal life. It wasn't just an exit, it was an earthquake. The Oprah interview painted the family in a damaging light. The Spotify deal turned into a public embarrassment. The Netflix series revealed more private struggles. And then came Spare, Harry's memoir, which aired grievances so personal the palace could barely contain its fury. Every project seemed to widen the gap, turning disagreements into open conflict. To the royals, Harry became unpredictable. To the press, he became a headline machine. Trust collapsed, replaced by suspicion and anger. That's why his sudden appearance at Clarence House matters. After years of public battles and scorched earth revelations, Charles still agreed to see him. It was proof that the story isn't finished yet. The shadow of Megxit still hangs over them, and every step forward comes with risk. Illness changes people. It strips away distractions. It forces hard questions. King Charles has been fighting cancer, and those close to him say it's made him reflective, even vulnerable. He's not just thinking about the crown, he's thinking about legacy, about family, about how history will judge him. His reign is already about transition, but illness adds another layer, mortality. Every decision now carries more weight. Was this meeting about healing or about making sure history doesn't say he turned his back on his son? Cancer can soften grudges. It can also make patience run thin. Charles is living with both realities. Publicly, he projects calm control. Privately, he's racing against time, trying to close the gaps in his family before it's too late. That's what made this meeting more than symbolic. It was a father, facing his own fragility, deciding that silence was no longer an option. Reports say the meeting lasted only 30 minutes. That's not enough for deep reconciliation, but it's plenty of time for a test. A test of whether Harry could be trusted again. A test of whether Charles still wanted to keep the door open. Nothing about royal schedules happens by accident. 30 minutes was deliberate. It wasn't about pouring hearts out. It was about taking the temperature. William's absence made the message even clearer. The heir was just miles away but chose not to attend. That silence was loud. It suggested he had no interest in even entertaining the idea of healing. For the world watching, that half hour was everything. Was it the start of something real? Or the last polite nod before both sides returned to silence? In royal politics, time is strategy. And in this case, 30 minutes spoke volumes. If Charles represents hope, William represents resistance. Insiders say his resentment runs deep. He believes Harry betrayed him, not just as a brother, but as a partner in the royal mission. The Oprah interview, the endless media deals, the memoir that laid private pain bare for profit. In William's eyes, Harry crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. That's why William stayed away. No quiet appearance, no phone call, no signal of support. His absence wasn't an oversight, it was a choice, a statement. William has the crown's future to protect, and he sees Harry as a threat to its stability. For Charles, peacemaking may seem worth the risk, but for William, reconciliation isn't just unlikely, it's unwanted. This triangle is fractured, and the heir to the throne has already drawn his line in the sand. When Harry arrived, Meghan wasn't by his side. No entourage, no cameras, no carefully staged moments. Just Harry alone. For some, this was proof he wanted the focus to be on him, not on his wife, not on their Hollywood life. For others, it raised questions about Meghan's willingness to ever step back into that world. Either way, the symbolism was powerful. Harry walked into Clarence House stripped of distractions, a son meeting his father without the shield of Meghan's presence. It felt raw, vulnerable, almost like he knew this was a moment he had to face alone. Does he want back into the fold, or does he just want closure? His solo appearance leaves both possibilities open. But it showed the world he still cares enough to make the attempt, on his own terms without anyone else in the room. And then silence. No press release, no official spin, no cozy photographs for the tabloids. Just silence. That absence of information told its own story. For some, it was a sign of progress, a private moment being kept private. For others, it was proof that the meeting went nowhere. In a family where every gesture is analyzed, silence can be louder than words. Still, it matters. For years, there were reports that Charles wasn't taking Harry's calls, that the lines of communication were broken. This time, the door opened. Even if nothing was resolved, that counts. But silence breeds speculation, and speculation fuels the very media circus that has haunted them for years. Every photo of Harry's serious face, every glimpse of Charles's stiff posture, all of it dissected frame by frame. Silence may protect details, but it cannot protect perception. The real test is still ahead. What Harry does now will decide everything. If he keeps quiet, if no details leak, it could show restraint, growth, a sign he's serious about mending bridges. But if even a hint of that meeting ends up in another book, another interview, another project, the fragile progress will collapse. Charles is caught in the middle, balancing illness, legacy, and two sons who may never stand side by side again. William won't budge. His silence makes it clear he's done waiting for apologies. That leaves Harry standing at a crossroads. Does he want back in, or just closure? Either way, the fact that the meeting happened proves one thing. The story isn't over. For 30 minutes, history paused. A king and his sons sat down, not as monarch and rebel, but as family. What comes next could define not just their relationship, but the monarchy itself.